It's not that life ever gets easier. It's just that you get better. You know, you start to begin to feel a sense of healing. That you're no longer controlled by impulses, no longer controlled by addictions, things that held you back in the past. You know, and some people might say, well, life begins when you hit 40, right? And I'm 32. You know, and I started to feel like life started to begin for me. Well, to be fair, if I look further enough back, life started to begin for me when I first entered into this space. You know, but if I allow my thoughts and my ego to try and claim when life started to really begin for me, was when I finally, what they call, had a spiritual awakening. You know, and I started to become more aware of my thoughts and my feelings and how I allowed them to dictate the things that I was doing to myself. And I kept going back to the same habits and vices again and again, watching porn for hours on end, stroking my gherkin to, you know, I don't even need to explain it, but I find humor in it. You know, I find humor in it, like, because ultimately having a laugh about the things that you've done in life without having a sense of shame over it is the most freeing thing, right? Because we're all sexual beings. We're all like, you know, we've all played with ourselves. We've all felt a sense of pleasure from that, and we've all looked at sexual imagery. We can't not deny that, unless we've been raised in a way where we've been kept away from that, you know, which I think a lot of people should, because seeing that kind of content as you're growing up as a child is ultimately the thing that is probably going to keep you into watching it as you grow into an adult. And for me, it was something that was allowed, or at least my parents didn't really witness me doing it when I was younger anyway, but you know, because they weren't around when I started watching it. I was actually around someone's house when I started viewing that kind of content. I guess what I'm trying to say is that seeing it from a very young age will influence how we see women and how we see sex at a later stage in our life, rather than just like naturally experiencing it. You know, how the animals experience it. Like, you know, they don't, the cows over there aren't thinking about the other cows humping each other that I've actually seen before. You know, when it comes to the cows, like the herd, some of them will probably go off a little bit over further ahead, and you'll see one of them jump on the back of the other one. But the other cows ain't thinking, oh, look at that cow over there shagging that other cow. It's just carrying on with eating the grass, you know what I mean? But humans are over here like watching other people have sex on camera and then role playing that and posting videos themselves. And that kind of content can be seen by children, by young, you know, people going into their not even hit puberty yet, and you can watch that kind of content, and how much of an impact that has on a child's brain, because they say that pornography is just as addictive as A-class substances, which I can tell you now, one of the worst things for me to overcome, I'd say the worst thing for me to overcome was porn. And even now, to this day, the thing that I feel the most pulled to go back to watch is porn. Out of cocaine, out of weed, porn is the most. It's still there. It's still there, trying to eat away, trying to say, come back, because of how easy of access it is to get onto it. You know, and I don't mind speaking about this on camera, because I know many people are probably feeling the same way. You know, I can reference the cows all I want, and people can laugh and say, oh, always talking about cows shagging, what a weirdo. Like I care. Who's got the smile on their face? And I'm not bothered about what anyone else thinks anyway, because I know nobody else exists apart from who I allow to exist in my thoughts and in my feelings. You know, the most important thing that we'll ever do as an individual, as awareness, as a human being, should I say, because that is also part of the experience as well, that we inhabit as a consciousness. We formed as an experience of being a human being, or at least what appears to be a human being. That one of the most important things that we'll ever do is become more conscious of ourselves, of the habits that we have, of the habits that we've picked up on from our external environment, or at least what's perceived to be the external environment. You know, through the TV, through the news, through the media, through movies. And to be honest, without any of it, I think we wouldn't really become aware anyway. You know, we kind of have to go through the sleepiness, through the dream, through the nightmare to be able to really become aware of the fact that we're living in a dream anyway, and that we can change that and make it a blissful one. You know, for some people, they might sleep their whole life going through hell. And no matter what you do, no matter what you say, and no matter how many times you will not try, no matter how many times you shine the light on the aspects of their life and point out certain things to them that could potentially change the way that they're living, they'll still remain where they are. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly divine. Because at one point I remember being in addiction myself. If I look back, I'm like, nobody can tell me what to do in this situation. If I want to watch porn for hours on end, sniffing cocaine, feeling a huge sense of pleasure from that, then I'm going to do it. And even though I felt shame and guilt from doing it a lot of the time, I still went back to do it because that's what I wanted to do. If someone wants to shoot up something into their system, or drink themselves to death, sniff themselves to death, wank themselves to death, then they can. If someone wants to go and drop bombs on innocent kids and cause wars and chaos and destruction in society, then that's the way things are playing out. There's not anything that I can do apart from analyze it and shine light on it, become aware of it. You know, I'm not doing this in a way to change the world. I'm not saying this in a way to change the world. I think we have to be the change that we want to see in the world for the world to change. I'm just saying it because I'm the awareness and I'm the observer of what it is that I see. And for me to give my attention and my energy to it by being the witness of it is no impact on me. There's no impact on my energy levels or the fact that I get brought down because of it. I've become that aware of it enough now that I don't really allow it to impact how I feel internally, because I've known about this thing for pretty much, you know, the kind of way of the world that we live in for most of my life. You know, it's no longer news to me now that there's darkness, a perception of darkness in the world, a perception of corruption in the world, a perception of so-called evil in the world. I do think, or at least I feel, that it doesn't have to be that way. And I do also feel as well that I know the path, at least the way that humanity can go, where we don't no longer have to live in the way that we've been living. Some people would say, well, you're talking a lot of nonsense because it's never going to change. Or why worry about somebody else's life and the things that they go through when you can't do anything about it? Why waste so much time and energy on that, giving your attention and focus onto that? And I think that's the reason why we continue to stay in the way that we do as a species. I think they say, there's a quote saying, ignorance is bliss, right? You know, when you just close yourself off to the thoughts, and the feelings and you know, the way that we all see things. We all see the darkness in the world, and we all know that what we could do to live in a better way. Yet, for some reason, we just go, oh, well, it's none of my concern. I'm just going to go and meditate. I'm just going to go and meditate and go to you know, and do something with my life that I value. And I agree in some ways, but I remain open. I don't close myself off to the fact that we can't change the world. Through inner knowing, through inner gnosis, through love, we can. I think we've just got to get enough people there. Because once we shine light on the darkness that we feel within ourselves, those saddening thoughts, those those thoughts of fear, those thoughts of I need to survive, those thoughts of greed and power, then all of that will fade away. And the only thing that's left is that thing in the sky, which is the only thing anyway. And I think once you become connected with that, or at least become aware of the fact that you are that, then you're protected anyway. And when I say you, I don't mean this human flesh, temporary flesh suit that we inhabit. I mean the awareness behind it all, the witness to it all. You know, there's something that sees all this, right? There's something that witnesses all this when we close our eyes. You know, we don't even have to use our eyes to see it. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. You know, we don't have to use our eyes to see it. And when I say see it, see the vision. Because we can open our eyes and we can see the vision as clear as day. But then we close our eyes again, and what remains? Well, I see nothing. Nah, you still remember what you saw, right? How do you remember that? It's because your awareness is recording all of it. Like a movie reel. It never stops. Because you've been through experience after experience after experience, again and again and again, through body after body after body after body, through a whole infinite variety of different forms, which you're all going through simultaneously as well right now, in the present moment. But for here, somewhere right now, within this recorded part of consciousness, are you experiencing what we call human life? And it will go just like that, you know, just like that, in the blink of an eye. So enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. The dark times, the sad times, the happy times, the ecstatic times, the blissful times, the hellish times. It's all just a contrast. The whole spectrum of it all, the totality of it all. Without one, you wouldn't know the other. And nature alone reveals everything about existence itself. You know, the sun goes down at night, comes back up again in the morning. Clouds come over, just blocks the sun. The seasons, summertime comes round, everything's bloomed. Wintertime comes, everything dies. It goes back round again. Then spring comes, everything comes back round again. It comes back to life. Everything starts chirping, everything starts growing. Everyone gets excited because life feels better when life is more lively, right? It does feel better when it's more lively, but you know, a lot of people say they hate winter, but some of the coldest seasons are some of the most best times, I think, personally myself. You know, although I am a summer child, I was born in June, so, which is just gone. You know, and I make these videos at random times, and it's almost at 17:32, and I keep talking. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm actually going to post this full video at length, because I know people probably don't really give two monkeys about watching a video of me talking to the camera in a field. And maybe that's part of my own insecurity. I should just post it anyway. So if I do post it, you saw something that I probably thought I wasn't going to post because of a thought alone. And now thinking about that, actually, is that where's that thought come from? That thought has come from something that I thought about somebody else that doesn't even exist. And it stopped me from posting a video. And when you know that, it's like, why not just post it then? It's like, why the fuck not just post it then? Why do I care what anyone else thinks? But my phone is overheating because the sun is literally absorbing my phone is literally absorbing all the sun, and I can feel it. It's quite warm and hot. And obviously recording, it also heats the phone up, so it wouldn't surprise me if it blows up right now in my hand. But yeah, I think I'll leave it at that at 20 minutes. So if you manage to get this far, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts about what it is that I've spoken about in this video, because I'm pretty sure I started it over there in the water, and I walked across the field, started talking about cows and porn and shit. But yeah, catch you in the next one.